One day, I suddenly realized I could hear my vegetative husband's inner thoughts. It's been 2 months already. When the hell can I wake up? I'm starving. Hot pot, barbecue, spicy skewers, grilled meat, seafood, clay pot, chicken. I want them all. Then he started singing. Little cabbage, all alone in the field. Got some money now lying in bed. Me. Can you keep it down? Some of us healthy people are trying to rest. Holy crap! You can hear me? Quick, quick, let's chat for 50 cents worth. Luke must have woken up, because I started hearing his non-stop rambling again. The nurse who wipes me down sucks. Totally rough. Can I get a new one? What's my wife's name again? She's kinda hot though. My butt's so itchy. Someone scratch it, please. I'm begging you. I was reading a book beside him, but he was being so loud I couldn't concentrate. I slipped my hand under the covers and scratched his butt a couple times. Suddenly, everything went dead quiet. I glanced at Luke. He was lying there, with his eyes closed, face unreadable. A second later, my eardrums exploded. What the hell was that? Why'd she touch my butt? Wait, does she have a thing for unconscious guys? That's messed up. Ugh, if she could just move a little to the right. It's still so itchy. I frowned and scratched a little further to the right. Are you quiet now? I asked impatiently. Wait, you really can hear me? I ignored him and went back to my book, which only made him even more hyper. I was speechless. Weren't you supposed to be a cold-hearted villain? What's with this chatterbox act? I transmigrated into this book last month, straight into a tragic role, the villain's stand-in bride. The plot? One word. Cliché. I'm the illegitimate daughter of the Delaney family. The one meant to marry Luke was supposed to be my half-sister, Jessica, the novel's female lead. But her mom couldn't bear to let her marry a vegetable, so I was sent instead. According to the original plot, I kept acting out recklessly after marriage, and even seduced some side character, planning to kill Luke and run off with his billions. But unfortunately for me, Luke woke up and I promptly got written out. After that, it was all about Luke, and the main couple's love-hate drama. Nothing to do with me. So I figured, whatever, might as well stick around and enjoy the ride. I've always loved peace and quiet. No 9 to 9 grind, just reading books all day. Absolute heaven. So I spent my days in Luke's hospital room with a book, and my nights in the big villa. I'd already made up my mind when Luke woke up. I'd explain everything and ask for a peaceful divorce. But just a few days later, he started talking so much I thought he'd already woken up. I even called a doctor. Turns out, no one else could hear a word he said. Just me. Then I remembered someone mentioning a golden finger when I transmigrated. I froze. My golden finger is hearing the inner voice of a villain in a coma. What kind of crappy cheat is that? After 2 months of bottling it up, Luke let loose once he realized I could hear him. You're my wife, right? I remember she was called Jessica. Jessica's my half-sister. I'm her younger sister, Jennifer. Oh right, I've met your sister. Total chatterbox. Good thing she didn't marry me. I've got no time for scheming green tea girls. Says the guy who won't shut up. I rolled my eyes without saying a word, and Luke immediately started whining again. Can you do me one more favor? His voice trembled. I think a mosquito bit my butt. It's so itchy. I glanced at the man lying in bed. Fair skin, sharp features, 2 faint creases between his brows, probably from frowning all year round. I hesitated, face flushing. Last time. We're married, aren't we? What's the big deal about looking at a butt? Luke. Okay. Last time, I swear. Once I can move. Even if you beg me to let you see, I won't. I couldn't take it anymore. I yanked the covers off Luke and pulled aside his hospital gown. His skin looked even paler from being bedridden. There's nothing there. Lower. You're not even in the right spot. Left with no choice, I pulled down a bit more and leaned in to check. Just then, click, the door opened. I looked up and locked eyes with Luke's mum, while my hand was on her son's butt. Even I couldn't keep a straight face. Auntie, no. Mom, I. Her face turned redder than mine. I get it. I understand everything. No, she didn't. Luke, still blind to the situation, kept nagging. Why'd you stop? Keep going! Thanks to him, Mrs. Dawson treated me like a queen after that, showering me with gold necklaces and designer bags, eyes misting up every few days. We've wronged you, sweetheart. The whole Dawson family owes you. What's worse, even Luke's attending physician pulled me aside for a chat. There's a good chance Luke will wake up soon. This won't affect your marital intimacy. But, for now, maybe try to control yourselves. Control what, exactly? Control the urge to scratch his mosquito bites into a tic-tac-toe board. I came back with a cold face. As soon as I opened the door, the instigator chirped. Where'd you go? I was so bored alone. I ignored him, grabbed my bag, and turned to leave. He whined, Why don't you stay here tonight? The nurse snores so loud, I can't sleep. You can sleep alone. I can't. Hospitals are creepy. I get scared on my own. My temple throbbed. Were you always like this? Like what? So loud and dramatic. Luke paused a few seconds. I prefer the term cheerful and sunny. How many coma patients do you know with my attitude? He sighed. I mean, I'm hot. I've got a great personality. And you get to call me your husband. Count your blessings. Yeah, right. My standards aren't that low. Still, I stayed the night not for Luke, but because Mrs. Dawson had given me too much. I felt guilty. When Luke heard I was staying, he actually got shy. So, does this count as our wedding night? He asked bashfully. It's my first time. If I'm not great, please go easy on me. I glanced again at the peacefully lying man. Did he forget he's a frickin' vegetable? Lying next to Luke, I just couldn't fall asleep. The truth is, the Dawson family isn't doing well. Luke's accident crashed their stock price, and many partnerships were cancelled. Rivals took advantage and tried to crush the Dawson family, including the Delaney's. According to the book, once Luke woke up, he did two things: kill me and destroy the Delaney family. I glanced at the clueless Luke lying next to me. Would he really kill me? Luke must have sensed me staring. Am I that good looking? He asked. Want a copper feel? I quickly looked away. No thanks. Lately, Mrs. Dawson had been coming to the hospital less and less. I didn't need to ask to know the company's situation was getting worse. Everything seemed to be unfolding exactly like the novel's plot, which only made me more nervous. I took extra care tending to Luke every day, terrified he'd get pissed and kill me off. But despite all my caution, something still went wrong. It all started when a media crew came to the hospital for a story, and a nurse accidentally revealed that I'd been caring non-stop for my vegetative husband. The editor-in-chief was deeply moved after learning the details and immediately published a feature titled Newlywed Wife Stays Devoted to Vegetative Husband. The piece criticized modern young people for treating marriage lightly and praised me and Luke as a model couple with rock-solid love. It was supposed to be a small, human interest story. Nothing sensational. But someone God knows who snapped a photo of me reading by Luke's bedside. The sunlight spilled over us like a scene out of a peaceful painting. Once the picture hit the web, it immediately went viral. Damn, with a husband that good-looking. I'd stay loyal too. Why does he look so familiar? Isn't that Luke, CEO of Dawson Group? I heard he got into a car accident. Wait, is he a vegetable now? Since when did he get married? Before long, Luke married and Luke vegetative trended hard. Seeing the explosive tag beside it, I was stunned. Who the hell has such a big mouth? I even warned the hospital in advance. Mrs. Dawson looked at Luke, eyes full of worry. Luke's always been low-key. He hates gossip. And now that they're reporting on his condition, how am I supposed to explain this to him when he wakes up? On the other hand, our supposedly low-key man was busy too. I made the paper. How's the photo? That nurse could have at least let you do my makeup first or something. He even sounded a little smug. Look at me already a vegetable. And still, fans online are calling me hubby. Jennifer, you better start feeling the competition. Take them. They can have him. Though the Dawson family quickly pulled the trending topics, the news of Luke's condition couldn't be hidden anymore. Reporters swarmed the hospital for interviews. If this keeps up, the rumors will only get worse, Mrs. Dawson said with a sigh. In just 2 months, she looked over 10 years older. Luke, who could hear everything, told me, "Let's just go public." You really want to? Better than hiding. Might as well be open about it. But I'm counting on my wife to be the spokesperson. The day before, Luke helped me draft a statement in the hospital, detailing the car accident and his current treatment. Though he spoke calmly, my heart clenched. "When that truck hit you, did it hurt?" "I don't remember," Luke said, lips pressed together. "All I remember thinking was, great, now I don't have to get married." "But you still ended up married," he chuckled. "Yeah, lucky me got someone even better looking." The press conference was live-streamed. I read Luke's statement word for word. When I finished, I noticed the bullet chat was dead silent. Even the reporters looked kinda uninterested. One finally spoke up, hesitantly. "Miss Jennifer, what people really want to know is your love story with Mr. Luke." Suddenly, the chat exploded. Everyone was asking when we got together, if it was love at first sight, and even how a coma patient handled personal needs. I snuck a glance at the oblivious man lying beside me, my face slowly turning red. "It was an arranged marriage," I said. "We didn't know each other before, so there wasn't really a foundation for love. This wasn't a secret in our circle." So the reporter followed up. "Did you ever consider leaving after Mr. Luke's accident?" I shook my head because I didn't want to die. "Then what is it about Mr. Luke that made you stay by his side?" I wanted to say, "Because he's a villain who could literally kill me." But I pretended to think seriously. He's actually really cheerful and optimistic. When the event ended, I sighed in relief. "Thanks for your hard work, honey," a voice whispered. It made me jump. Thinking about what the reporters had asked, my face flushed again. It was nothing." I thought the whole thing was over. But the next day, Jennifer press conference was trending again. I panicked. Did I say something wrong in the interview? "Nope. You were honest, graceful, and your love confession was so genuine it even touched me. Don't worry, the netizens won't come for you." I braced myself and clicked in, only to see a post with thousands of likes. "Jennifer, my husband isn't a villain. He's the sunshine in my heart." "What the hell?" The comments were going wild. "Cheerful and optimistic? I love Luke too. But are we sure we're talking about the same guy?" "Jennifer, blink twice if you've been kidnapped. That man is Luke, for God's sake." Am I the only one obsessed with the vegetative CEO ex-delicate heiresses trope? Agreed. That was my first thought too. The thread quickly derailed into full-on CP talk about me and Luke. Someone even started a fan hashtag, "The World of Jennifer and Luke." That night, Luke couldn't sleep, and made me read him fanfiction under the tag. After 3 months of loneliness, Jennifer stepped into the hospital room. Under the moonlight, she couldn't resist anymore. She lifted the covers and pounced on the sleeping CEO. I suddenly stopped reading. Luke urged me. "Then what? What did Jennifer do next?" Then she lifted the covers and scratched a big X on Luke's butt. I said, blushing, then shut my phone. Eyes closed. Sleep. Luke knew that wasn't how it was written and huffed in protest. "Fine. I'll read it myself when I wake up." Gotta admit, the press conference was a bigger success than expected. It even gave Dawson Group's stock a boost. Tons of CP fans started buying Dawson products to support Jennifer in conquering her vegetative CEO. If y'all don't buy, how can Luke keep being a CEO? And if Luke's not a CEO, how am I supposed to enjoy this cute wife fantasy? Some fans even reviewed Dawson products. I've been buying Dawson stuff for a while. Honestly, their quality crushes most foreign brands. More and more people began paying attention to Dawson Group, helping the company pull through the crisis almost miraculously. But while some rejoiced, others worried. With Dawson's sudden revival, the Delaney family couldn't sit still anymore. A few days later, Jessica came to find me. "Jennifer, I just heard you got married. I'm so sorry as your sister." Her fake sisterly act gave me goosebumps. I handed her a tissue. "Why are you here?" "I came to help you." Jessica sniffled and began explaining. "The family forced me to marry Luke, so I ran off to the States out of spite. I didn't know they'd actually make you marry him. Anyway, as soon as I heard, I rushed back." "Jennifer, I've always thought of you as my real sister. Don't worry, I won't let you stay married to someone like Luke. I already talked to Dad. He agreed to let you get divorced." Before I could reply, Luke clicked his tongue. "Does she think we're idiots?" Dawson only bounced back because netizens started shipping us. "Now she wants you to get a divorce?" "Pretty obvious she's trying to tank the company." "Of course I understood that too." I shook my head. "No need, I'm doing just fine right now." "Stop lying to me," Jessica said, grabbing my hand anxiously. "I know the Dawsons are forcing you. That's why you said all that stuff online." "Jennifer, believe me, Luke's not a good person." "Wow, okay. Let's not resort to personal attacks now," Luke grumbled. "That Jessica chick is not just ugly but also mean. If this were a fairy tale, she'd be the evil stepmom from Snow White." I was so annoyed. "Can you shut up?" Jessica flinched at my outburst, eyes welling up. "You don't believe me, Jennifer. I wasn't talking to you." "I never mind. Go on." She probably thought bad-mouthing Luke had upset me, so to seem more convincing, she took a deep breath. "All right, I won't hide it anymore." She glanced around cautiously before speaking. "Luke's violent. When he was 6, he sicked a dog on a maid and crippled her. She's still in a wheelchair. In high school, he burned a classmate's arm with a cigarette, forcing them to drop out. He's had a reputation for being a tyrant since forever." I looked at Luke. None of that sounded like something he'd do. "Sure enough," Luke sneered. "Our family ran a rehab program for the disabled. That dog walker was already in a wheelchair. As for high school, that chubby guy showed off his tattoo, got caught by the teacher, and blamed me by saying I burned him. If her imagination's this wild, she should try writing novels. She'd make more money than now." "And do you know how his father died?" Jessica asked. When I shook my head, she lowered her voice. "He poisoned his dad to inherit the company." That set Luke off. "Honey, just wait. I'll go dig my dad out of his grave so he can deal with her himself." After Jessica left, Luke lay there in a sulk. Seeing me reading like nothing happened, he got annoyed. "You're not mad at her slandering me like that. What kind of crap wife are you?" I wanted to laugh. "Jessica should have been your wife. If you don't want me, I'll help you get her back." "So, you're dumping me now? Was that what I meant?" Luke sounded like a betrayed husband catching his wife cheating. "Jennifer, are you trying to abandon me?" I was stunned. "Abandon? What?" "So what? Vegetative people don't have rights. You think you can grope a coma patient's ass and then walk away like nothing happened? Can we please move on from this?" Jessica never showed up again after that day, but I had a nagging feeling this wasn't over. Sure enough, a few days later, a strange man stopped me. "Jennifer, do I know you? Still mad at me?" he said, looking guilty. "I didn't run off with you before the wedding, because your dad threatened me. You know my family situation. I couldn't risk my mother." That rang a bell. I tried to recall the original plot. Jason. You're finally talking to me. Great. The scumbag who coaxed me into eloping and got me killed had arrived. Luke had been in a coma for 4 months, and according to the timeline, he was about to wake up. This was the worst possible time for drama. I stepped back. "Sorry, I'm married now. Don't contact me again." I thought I'd made myself clear, but Jason kept popping up around the hospital, trying to win me back. "Your sister told me you're miserable in that marriage," he'd say. That day, Jason followed me all the way to Luke's penthouse room. He burst in. Your dad agreed to let us be together. The biggest obstacle is gone. Jennifer, I don't believe you've forgotten me. Then he pulled me into his arms. Let's run away, to a city where no one knows us. We can start over. Are you insane? I was about to push him away when I heard Luke's voice. Getting cozy in a hospital room? Classy. Jason shoved me aside. I sensed something was off, and turned around to see the man who'd been lying in bed now, sitting up. Why stop now? Was me waking up bad timing? Sorry to intrude. So, this was really Luke speaking. My heart pounded as I rushed to his bedside. You're awake! Are you feeling okay? Luke coolly pulled back. No need for Miss Delaney's concern. Why don't you sort out your personal business before coming to discuss our divorce? Luke was awake, and my golden finger vanished with it. He had no memory of anything from his vegetative state. That whole period felt like something I'd imagined. Doctors gathered around, running tests on him. Everything looks good, Mr. Dawson. You should be cleared to leave the hospital soon. The doctor smiled with relief. And congratulations to Miss Jennifer, too. Your patience finally paid off. Luke frowned. What patience? The doctor, thinking we were a loving couple, didn't hold back. Your wife pulled down your pants while you were asleep. I told her to wait a little longer. Then he even winked at me. Relax. I checked everything. All normal down there. I wanted to die on the spot. Why couldn't this doctor shut up? It's not what you think! I blurted out. Luke gave me a sidelong glance. Miss Delaney sure has a colourful range of hobbies. The first thing Luke did after waking up was summon his assistant to the hospital to check on the company. Thanks to Madam, everything's been running smoothly. You mean my mum? No, sir, your wife. The assistant handed over a phone and played the press conference video. Luke's hands were trembling by the end of it. His eyes burned with anger. Who gave you permission to hold a press conference and say all that nonsense? I hadn't even said a word before, but now I was annoyed. You think I shouldn't have held a press conference after the accident already made the news? Luke opened his mouth but didn't reply. I continued. Was there something wrong with the event descriptions in the speech? Or did you have an issue with how I described your personality during the Queen Day? Luke stayed silent. I raised an eyebrow. If there's nothing wrong with either, then what's your problem now? It was probably the first time someone had pushed back at him. He froze for a while before muttering, sharp-tongued. I mimicked his cold snort. Ungrateful. I didn't want to stay in the same room with him any longer and turned to leave. Just before stepping out, I remembered something and pulled out a stack of papers from my bag. Here, I was going to read this to help you sleep. But since you're awake now, read it yourself. What is it? I flipped to the first page and pointed to the title, Madam, the CEO's a vegetable again. Watching Luke's face go stiff, I gave a cold little hum serves you right. Maybe it was the fanfic that triggered him, but I didn't see Luke at all for several days. When we finally met again a week later, he stormed over, furious. So this was your master plan? I was speechless. This CEO had been puffed up like a pufferfish ever since waking up. What master plan? He flung a stack of photos at me. I glanced through them and frowned. They were all of me and Jason us meeting outside the hospital, him lurking nearby, even one where he forcibly hugged me. The angles were cunningly chosen, creating a strangely romantic vibe. That's when I realized Jessica's plan. Since the divorce didn't work, she roped in Jason to fabricate a cheating scandal and sabotage the CP buzz we'd built up. I clearly remembered how the original character died. Seeing the stormy look on Luke's face, I started to panic. These photos are fake. I've been stuck with you every day. How would I have time to sneak around with another man? Stuck with me? I abruptly shut up. Luke gave a cold laugh. Now you can't even lie properly. You must really think I can't do anything to you. I couldn't take his constant sarcasm anymore. Luke, are you two-faced or what? You clearly don't think that way deep down. So why do you keep saying such hurtful things? You were clearly thrilled to be on the news. You follow that fanfiction more religiously than anyone. And when Jason showed up, you were totally jealous. You don't actually want a divorce. So why keep pretending like this? It's just annoying. Jennifer, who told you this crap? You did. You say crap to me every day. I glared at him. Believe it or not, I don't care. Then I turned and walked away. Luke stood there a moment. When he realized I wasn't coming back, he got pissed too. What did I even say to make you angry now? I mean, come on, even without everything else, isn't it reasonable for a husband to ask for an explanation after seeing intimate photos of his wife with another man? I ignored him. Talk to me when you learn how to act like a proper husband. Even though we'd had a fight, we both knew that if those photos got out, there would be a huge public uproar. People are easily manipulated. Some don't care about the truth, they only believe what they want to see. Lately, Luke had been leaving early and coming home late, busy out of his mind. I hadn't been idle either. I hired someone to dig into Jason's background. A few days later, I got results. Someone hacked Jason's computer and found his transaction records. Half a month ago, Jessica wired $1 million to Jason's personal account. He started stalking you after that. I've also got hospital surveillance on this USB drive to prove you ignored all his advances. Luke didn't get home until very late. We need to talk about Jason. I followed him into the study and laid out the documents. Here's video footage of Jason tailing me, plus the transfer records from the Delaney family. Can this prove I'm innocent? But after a long wait, Luke didn't say anything. I looked up. He was staring straight at me, his eyes slightly glazed. I leaned closer to sniff. Did you drink? Luke made a tiny gap with his fingers. Just a little bit. Yep, he was drunk. I started packing up the documents. Go rest. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I turned to leave, but Luke stood up and grabbed me. You're so mean. His eyes were watery and pitiful. Why are you mad at me every day? You're the one who's grumpy every day, Mr. Moody. Clearly, he wasn't listening. You took photos with another guy. They're fake. You let him hug you. I pushed him away. Don't care. You're my wife. I've never even hugged you. Why does he get to? Then Luke pulled me into a tight bear hug, even nuzzled my cheek, and sighed happily. You smell so good. Drunk Luke was definitely more honest. He followed me into the bedroom, clutching a pillow, insisting on sleeping with me. No way, I said, kicking the man who shamelessly occupied half my bed. Get off. We're married, why can't I sleep here? You'll regret it tomorrow. No, I won't. In the end, I didn't kick him out. I was too curious to see his reaction when he sobered up. It did not disappoint. The next morning, Luke opened his eyes like the sky had fallen. What the hell happened? I leaned on one arm, feeling great. You tell me. You're the one who climbed into my bed last night. I should be asking you. I sighed. Guess the internet was right. Men can't be trusted. Who would have thought Mr. Perfect Luke would sneak around like this after dark? Luke's face turned stiff. It was an accident. Classic scumbag line. I know them all. I'm changing the lock on my room today. That way, when you barge in again, you'll only have yourself to blame. When Luke left, his face was so dark it could drip ink. After bottling it up for weeks, I finally felt free. But there was a downside after that day. I turned into the big bad wolf. Luke ran every time he saw me. I tried several times to talk to him about the investigation, but he shut me down with a cold face each time. Even Mrs. Dawson noticed something was off. She came to ask me, "Did you and Luke have a fight?" I hesitated before asking, "Mom, have you ever felt like Luke's personality is kind of strange? Like sometimes he's cheerful and bubbly, and other times he's gloomy and cold, it just flips back and forth." Mrs. Dawson stayed silent for a long time before finally speaking. Actually, Luke has an older brother. I was stunned. That was news to me. The book barely mentioned the villain's family. I only knew Luke came from a powerful background and took over the company after his father passed away. Luke wasn't like this as a child. He was lively and mischievous, always climbing trees and running around. It was his older brother who was calm and dependable. His father and I always planned for the older one to take over the company and let Luke grow up freely. But when Luke was 8, his brother passed away. She paused. That year we took them on a trip. A sudden storm hit while Luke was swimming in the sea. His brother was swept away while trying to save him. From that moment on, Luke completely changed. Out of guilt, he forced himself to grow up overnight and slowly became just like his brother. So all those inner voices I'd heard, those were the real Luke. Mrs. Dawson's eyes were misty. She held my hand. Back then, we were too overwhelmed by grief to notice something was wrong with Luke. And when we finally realized, it was too late. Jennifer, I can tell you're different to Luke. If you have even a little affection for him, could you please help him? Her words lingered in my mind for a long time. Do I have feelings for Luke? At first, I thought I didn't. Getting close to him was all part of the plot. Pleasing him was for self-preservation. But when did that change? Maybe it was when he kept chatting with me. Or maybe when he said, "Thank you, wifey." Luke had been acting differently lately, and yet I couldn't stop thinking about the old Luke, the one who clung to me and joked around. What if that Luke woke up? Would he act all clingy again? Would he still want me by his side? The night he got drunk and hugged me, saying how much he missed me, that was when I finally felt at ease. Honestly, I wanted to tell him. I missed him too. Is that what liking someone feels like? That night, I stayed up late on purpose. When Luke came home, I marched into his bedroom with my pillow. "What do you want?" "Nothing. Just here to sleep with you. Don't push your luck." I smiled. I prefer to call it returning the favor. Luke's mouth curled with sarcasm. "Jennifer, do you even know your place? You were just a stand-in bride. Once the public calms down, we'll separate." "So you mean you'd rather have Jessica?" I suddenly understood and pulled out my phone. "Let me call her for you right now." As I started dialing, I spoke into the phone. "Hey sis, it's Jennifer." Luke says. Before I could finish, he lunged at me and snatched the phone. One look at the dark screen and he realized I'd tricked him. I seized the chance to wrap my arms around his waist and blinked up at him. Guess the doctor was right." Then in a low voice, "You've recovered very well." In that instant, Luke's face turned bright red. He didn't say a word and stiffly walked into the bathroom, slamming the door shut. I laughed out loud. That's when I was sure I liked him. I was really, truly into Luke. Once I understood my own feelings, I didn't hold back. Every few nights I'd sneak over to his room. At first, he tried to act distant and told me to leave. But eventually, he gave up and just let me do whatever I wanted. One day, I wasn't feeling well and stayed in my own bedroom. That night, Luke actually came to me. He saw the frown on my face and said, "Jennifer, you really love giving up halfway." His words made no sense. It took me a second to realize he was implying something. It's my period. I took a day off because I'm not feeling well. As soon as I said it, the door slammed shut behind him with a loud bang. I jumped. That hurt a little. I mean, considering we were basically bedmates, did he have to act so rude? But just a few minutes later, the door opened again. Luke walked in, expressionless, holding a cute pink thermos. Brown sugar water. "My mum told me to bring it to you." He placed it stiffly on the nightstand. "Oh, then thank your mum for me." He stared at me for a moment, pressed his lips together, and left again. It wasn't until midnight that he came back. I was lying in bed watching a drama when the door opened again. Of course it was Luke. "You're not supposed to stay up late when you're not feeling well." I was getting annoyed. "Let me guess your mum said that too." Luke didn't answer. He just came over, yanked my iPad away, and scooped me blanket and all into his arms. "What are you doing?" He said nothing, just carried me back to his room and placed me on the side I always slept on. Still expressionless, he said. Eyes closed. Sleep. It sounded so familiar. Wasn't that what I always said when tucking him in? Guess my bedtime strategy really worked. I could clearly feel Luke's attitude toward me changing. He wasn't as chatty as before, but at least he acted like a normal human. Just when life was finally getting better, the photos of me and Jason leaked. The one who poured fuel on the fire? Jessica. She beat me to the media and cried on camera like a tragic heroine. It's all my fault. Jennifer only married Luke because she took my place. If I hadn't selfishly run away, she wouldn't have had to leave the one she loved. She wouldn't be trapped in a loveless marriage. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Don't attack my sister. The internet exploded. A stand-in bride? In the 21st century? Rich people are insane. This whole marketing stunt is gross. They act like a couple to get clout and money, but they're just doing their own thing behind the scenes. I don't even know who to feel bad for. Actually, no, I feel bad for myself. All the money I spent shipping this couple is now just salty tears. Soon, hashtags like Jennifer and Luke BE and Jennifer stand-in bride were trending. Even Jessica got dragged into the hot topics. Just like that, I was famous for all the wrong reasons. The internet started flaming me with new and creative insults. Illegitimate daughters will always be illegitimate. Jessica's so classy. Jennifer's nothing like her. I'm getting conspiracy theory vibes. What if Jennifer planned this whole stand-in bride thing to marry into money? She played her cards well, married a vegetable, got the money and fame, and still got to sneak around with her lover. Too bad the husband woke up. LOL. Luke came over and snatched my phone. Stop reading. I'm fine. Honestly, it's kind of funny. I'm just a regular person. Who knew I'd become a national joke? It's my fault for not handling things better. Luke sat beside me. I'll help you clear your name. I'll lay out the full timeline. If necessary, we'll hold another press conference. You wrote the speech too. I thought for a moment and shook my head. Forget it. I don't want to be in front of the camera again. Luke paused. Don't worry. This time, the spokesperson will be your husband personally. I didn't think much of it at the time, but a few minutes later, I replayed the conversation in my head and realized, Luke, did you remember something? Remember what? Luke didn't even look up, still focused on his laptop. You mean the whole butt-scratching incident? So he had remembered. I stood up, both surprised and delighted. When did it come back to you? Luke finally stopped typing, a trace of awkwardness in his eyes. After that night, I got drunk, and he kept it from me all this time. Then why didn't you tell me? You just kept waiting for me to come sleep with you every night. He looked a bit flustered. I came to find you too. I clenched my jaw and decided on a one-sided cold war. Luke stood up and pulled me onto his lap. I'm sorry, honey, he said softly. Your husband has his pride too. Thinking about all that, I couldn't help but laugh. You really did some shameless things back then. We laid out the evidence, fully organized and time-stamped, and posted it online. It left Jessica with almost no room to fight back. After some discussion, Luke and I held an online press conference together to explain everything to the public. A reporter asked, "Is the stand-in marriage true?" "Yes," Luke answered bluntly. His voice was calm and cool. The marriage arrangement with the Delaney family was made by our parents, but I had no feelings for Miss Jessica and planned to reject the engagement. Before I could, the accident happened. My mother, wanting to ward off bad luck with a wedding, discussed advancing the wedding date with the Delaneys. Naturally, they didn't want their daughter marrying a vegetable, so they sent over the woman who is now my wife, Jennifer. Luke smiled. I'm deeply grateful to my in-laws for that decision. It allowed me to meet the person I truly love. What do you love most about your wife? The reporter asked. Luke thought for a moment, then answered slowly, word by word. Kindness, integrity, wit. and mischief. Each word felt like it carried 100 memories. The look in Luke's eyes left the reporter speechless for a few seconds. Then they turned to me. "Miss Jennifer, we actually asked you this same question once before. Now that Mr. Luke is awake, has your answer changed?" I smiled and shook my head. "No, I still love the cheerful and sunny Luke." With the truth out, the Delaney family was once again dragged into the hot seat. Some netizens even uncovered an economic scandal that got the original character's father involved in a lawsuit. With Luke's early suppression of the Delaneys and the shift in public opinion, their company never recovered. I couldn't help but sigh. Jessica was supposed to be the protagonist. How did it end up like this? Guess this is the villain's victory. That's when I suddenly realized something. Jessica's the female lead, so who's the male lead? I couldn't recall a single impression. "Jessica's getting married," Luke said one day after coming home, dropping a bomb. "To who?" "The CEO of Zhousheng Group." Zhousheng, it sounded like a big company. I figured the male lead must have finally appeared, so I asked, "Is he handsome? I mean, he's the male lead, right?" Luke gave me a look, pulled out his phone, and opened someone's Moments feed. This guy. I stared at the bald, pot-bellied man who looked at least 60. "You're kidding." "He's an old man. Delaney's in a tough spot. Having anyone agree to marry her now is already a miracle." I didn't give up. "Does he have a son? Like a really hot one?" After all, stepmom romance is pretty trendy these days. Luke's expression darkened. "So even your vegetable husband isn't enough for you anymore? Now you're eyeing someone else's son's ass?" "That's not what I meant. I was just..." Before I could finish, Luke tackled me. A few hours later, Luke finally let me go. "You satisfied now? Still thinking about other people?" I hadn't been thinking about anyone, and I ignored him. I rolled my eyes. Luke leaned in. "Babe, I've always been curious about something." "What?" "The first time I asked you to look at my butt, what were you thinking?" I thought back and couldn't help smiling. White. Really white. Like a big steamed bun.